sometimes, the past doesn't stay buried. It rides back through the wind, across the land, and straight into the heart of those who still feel its loss. Ty Borden was gone. Or so we believed. But in season 19, something shifts. A feeling, a whisper, a return that no one saw coming, especially Amy. The quiet hills of Heartland have seen joy, heartbreak, healing, and loss. For years, fans have carried the weight of Ty Borden's absence. A character whose soul became one with the land, the horses, and Amy's heart. His departure left more than just silence. It left a hollow space, like a room that's been shut for too long. But now, that door seems to open again, slowly, carefully, and with purpose. In the very first minutes of season 19, the mood shifts. The air is heavier, not because of grief but because something is coming. Something no one could have predicted. There's a change in Amy. Her eyes search the horizon. Her hands linger over old photos. Her dreams feel more vivid. The ranch feels different, as if someone familiar has returned, though no one's spoken their name. This episode begins not with noise, but with stillness. A morning at Heartland, painted in soft gold from the rising sun. Birds fly low. The horses seem alert, like they sense something in the wind. Amy stands at the barn door, motionless, holding a letter. We don't see what it says. But her reaction speaks louder than any words. Her breath catches. Her eyes shimmer. She whispers, "It can't be." The screen fades into a montage, flashes from the past. Ty holding baby Lyndy for the first time. Ty riding across the ranch with Amy at his side. The proposal. The wedding. That final, painful goodbye. These moments rush by like flickers of memory, not to torture us, but to remind us of what was, once real, and could be again. Back in the present, Jack watches Amy from afar. He knows her well. She's not just holding a letter, she's holding on to hope. And hope, as we've learned in Heartland, is both a gift and a burden. The opening of this season isn't just about returning to the ranch, it's about the return of a feeling that was once buried deep. Belief. Belief that love never really ends. That even after loss, something or someone can find a way back. Whether Ty's return is real, imagined, or something in between. One thing is clear, his presence is felt. And Amy's world is about to change all over again. Before we talk about Ty Borden's return, we have to remember the journey that shaped him and shaped us. When Ty first arrived at Heartland, he wasn't the man we now remember. He was a boy with bruised knuckles, guarded eyes, and a soul that had seen too much too young. A troubled past brought him to the ranch, part punishment, part second chance. No one knew what to expect from him, not even Ty himself. But what no one saw coming was that this so-called outsider would become the very heart of Heartland. At first, Ty was quiet, defensive, always ready to run. But this land has a way of healing people, slowly, deeply. And Amy, she saw something in him. Not just the anger or the past, but the potential. The softness behind the edge. Their friendship didn't start with big words or easy smiles. It grew like a wildflower, unplanned, but meant to be. Over time, Ty became more than just a ranch hand. He became a partner, a protector, a dreamer. He trained horses, fixed fences, and learned how to trust again. But more than anything, he learned how to love. He loved Amy with a quiet, steady strength. He loved the ranch. He loved the life he built, one choice at a time. We watched him grow, season after season, through heartbreaks, setbacks, and victories. We saw him fight for what he believed in. He chased down dreams of becoming a vet. He stood by Amy through storms, fire, and loss. We saw the wedding, that simple, honest moment when two souls who had already chosen each other, just made it official. And then came Lyndy, their little girl, the best part of both of them. And then, the silence. The goodbye no one was ready for. Ty's death wasn't just a plot twist. It was a heartbreak that rippled far beyond the screen. It broke Amy. It broke Jack. It broke us. For many fans, it felt personal. As if we lost a friend, a brother, a memory of something pure. The man who had once been the lost boy now left others feeling lost in his absence. But grief doesn't erase a legacy. It deepens it. Even after he was gone, Ty remained in every corner of the ranch. His tools in the shed, his horse in the field, his photo on the wall. And most of all, in Lyndy's smile. In Amy's strength. In the quiet moments where love doesn't speak, but is still heard. Asterisk, that's what makes this return, whatever form it takes, so powerful. Because Ty was never just a character. He was the reminder that people can change. That love can grow from pain, and that sometimes, the ones we lose still find ways to come back. Asterisk, as season 19 opens its doors. We're not just remembering Ty, we're inviting his spirit back into the story, and maybe, just maybe, this time, he's not just a memory. Asterisk, it didn't happen with thunder. There was no grand announcement, no dramatic entrance. But something shifted in Heartland. And it began with the smallest details, asterisk, the kind of details most people wouldn't notice, but Amy did. Asterisk, first, it was the sound. A familiar rhythm in the distance, hooves, on dirt. Not just any horse. His horse. Harley. Amy had turned to look, expecting an empty field. But Harley stood at the edge of the ranch, staring into the distance, ears forward, like he knew someone was coming, or maybe someone had already been. Asterisk, then, the letter. No return address. No name. Just a single sheet of paper with 4 words. You were never alone. Typed, no handwriting. But Amy knew. Her hands shook as she folded the page, eyes wide, heart racing, not out of fear, but from something deeper. Recognition, asterisk, the strange part. No one else seemed to get one. No one else seemed to get one. No one else saw what Amy saw. A shadow near the barn, a figure on the ridge at sunset. A jacket the same kind Ty used to wear folded neatly in the tack room, though no one remembered putting it there. Asterisk, Amy didn't say anything at first. How do you tell someone you feel like your lost husband is near, when you know he's gone? She held the feeling close, like a secret she was afraid to break. But her eyes gave her away. Jack noticed. Lou asked. Even Lyndy, young as she was, began asking, is Daddy coming home soon? That question echoed louder than anything. Amy started to question herself. Was she holding on too tight to a dream? Was grief playing tricks on her heart? Or was someone truly trying to reach her? Asterisk, the town of Hudson wasn't silent, either. Whispers began to drift in like smoke. A man seen outside Maggie's, looking like Ty from behind. A vet clinic in another town calling to confirm a supply order placed under the name Borden. Even Caleb mentioned, half-joking, that someone's been fixing the fences around here before I can. Asterisk, none of it made sense. And yet, all of it did. Asterisk, because if there's one truth Amy has learned, it's this: the heart always knows. Even before the mind catches up. Asterisk, she returned to places they once shared. The riverbank where they first talked. The trail where he taught her to ride. Again, after her accident, she'd sit in silence, waiting for nothing in particular. And yet, every time, something happened. A warm breeze. A flicker of movement. A memory that felt too alive to be just imagination. Asterisk, dreams became another doorway. Ty would appear, not as a ghost, but as himself. Clear, steady, looking just like he used to. Not older, not changed. He wouldn't say much. Sometimes, nothing at all, just look at her. Smile. And then wakefulness would hit, leaving Amy breathless and more certain than ever that this wasn't just a dream. Asterisk. The lines between reality and something more, something spiritual, even began to blur. Asterisk, was Ty reaching out? Trying to guide her? Or had Amy finally opened herself to the part of love that never dies, the part that lives beyond time? Asterisk, Heartland has always been a place where healing feels like magic. But this was something else. It wasn't just healing. It was connection, mystery, faith. Asterisk, and as the days moved forward, Amy could no longer deny it. Ty's presence wasn't just in her memory. It was around her, watching, protecting, maybe even trying to return. Asterisk, but the question remains, what does return really mean? Is it physical, emotional? A sign from beyond? Whatever it is, it's coming closer. And Amy's about to find out. Asterisk. No one was prepared for that morning. Asterisk, the sun rose like it always did, soft and slow, stretching golden light across the frost-covered ground of Heartland. Amy stood alone in the paddock, brushing Harley. Her hands moved without thinking, her mind elsewhere, floating between past and present like a leaf in the wind. That day felt different. Still, yes, but charged, like the earth was holding its breath. Asterisk, and then it happened. Not loudly, not with fanfare or flames. Just feeling a shift in the air. Harley's ears perked up. His muscles tensed. Amy turned slowly. At the far end of the path, near the trees, a figure, still watching. Amy's heart stopped. Her breath caught. The world narrowed until it was just that silhouette and the sound of her pulse echoing in her ears. She blinked. Once, twice. The figure didn't move. Tall, familiar. Worn jeans, brown jacket, hands in pockets. A posture she hadn't seen in years. But never forgot. Her lips parted, but no words came. She stepped forward, unsure if she was dreaming, awake, or somewhere in between. And then, he nodded. A slow, knowing nod. No smile, just eyes full of meaning. Ty. It wasn't just a hallucination. It wasn't a memory. He was there. Real or not, flesh or spirit, Amy didn't care. The moment was true, and sometimes, truth lives in the heart long before it reaches the mind. She didn't run. She didn't cry. She simply stood there because some love is too big for movement, too deep for words. The birds around them flew off. The horses stood still. Even the wind hushed. The camera in our minds wouldn't zoom in. It would hold the frame. A wide cinematic shot. Two figures across the ranch. The one who stayed, and the one who returned. Ty didn't walk closer. He didn't speak. But Amy understood everything. In his eyes was peace. In his silence, a message. You're not alone. You were never alone. I am with you always. Then, like breath disappearing, into fog, he was gone. Amy didn't break. She didn't collapse. She closed her eyes, placed a hand on her heart, and smiled. Not the smile of someone who just saw a ghost, but someone who had been given a gift. One final connection. One sacred moment. Proof that love doesn't end when a person does. Later, she would tell Jack. Quietly, without drama. And Jack, old and wise, would only nod. I've felt him too, he'd say. That night, Amy wrote it down in her journal. Not because she needed to remember, but because she wanted Lyndy to know one day that her father hadn't just left. He came back, not in the way people expect, but in the way that matters. Through the trees. Through the wind. Through the love that never stopped beating. Ty's return wasn't a resurrection, it was a realization that he never really left. That the ranch, the family, and the love still carry him in every moment. And Amy. She was ready to live again. Not by forgetting, but by carrying his spirit forward. Strong, gentle, wild, like the horses they both loved. This was no longer just a story about loss. It was a story about return. About presence. About how some goodbyes are not the end, but a new beginning. She didn't say anything right away. After Ty's return, or vision, or visit, or whatever the world wants to call it, Amy didn't run to tell everyone what she saw. She didn't need to. The truth of it didn't belong to logic. It belonged to her. It lived inside her now, not as pain, but as peace. But something did change. It started small. Amy opened the tackroom windows that had been sealed shut since Ty died. She dusted off the old vet bag he used to carry. She began going on rides, alone again, through the same trails they once took together. And she smiled more, not because she was over it, but because she no longer had to carry the grief alone. It had transformed into something lighter. Something warmer. Then, one evening, she sat with Lyndy by the fireplace. The little girl curled up in a blanket, staring at the flames. Her voice was soft, innocent, and knowing all at once. Did Daddy come home today? Amy didn't flinch. She didn't lie. She looked her daughter in the eyes, smiled gently, and said, in a way, yes. Lyndy didn't ask more. She nodded like children do when they understand something beyond words, and leaned against her mother's shoulder. That was the moment Amy knew she wasn't holding on to a ghost, she was holding on to love. And love, the real kind, doesn't fade. It grows. It changes. It finds new ways to stay alive. Later that week, Amy rode out to the highest ridge on the ranch, the same place Ty had proposed. Alone. The wind was strong. The sky wide open. She stood there with a journal in hand. She read aloud, even though no one was there. Or maybe someone was. Thank you, she whispered. For choosing me. For loving me. For showing me how to live even after you were gone. She took a deep breath, looked out at the land, and closed the book. This wasn't closure. This was continuation. Amy knew now that Ty's return wasn't just about him. It was about her. Her readiness to feel again, to love again. Not just romantically, but deeply with family, with her horses, with herself. And that's what makes this moment so emotional, because Amy's strength was never about forgetting. It was about remembering and still choosing to move forward. That's the quiet courage of Heartland. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand, it waits, it listens. And when the time is right, it lets go with grace. As the screen fades to a soft amber glow, we see Amy leading Lyndy by the hand. A fresh sunrise behind them, the barn in the distance, and for just a moment, the faint sound of hooves echoing in the wind. Maybe it's Harley. Maybe it's just the wind. Or maybe, just maybe, it's Ty riding alongside them, just out of sight. Where love still lives. Final note for viewer, voiceover tone, soft, warm, reflective. In Heartland, no one truly leaves. They stay in the land, the family, the love. And in season 19, Ty Borden didn't just return, he reminded us all that the heart never forgets.